Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO. So we had a pretty interesting week last week. We'll start with this DXY. So DXY, not much has changed on the daily. I'm looking for that A, B, C, at least up to this 50 fib. And like I've been saying, the price may even break this top. The problem I have with this daily chart is we got one, two, three. We've lost our divergence, and so we'll get more upside. We got a higher high here, and we got a higher high. This is pretty choppy. We didn't really want to see this correction in here, right down at the bottom. We sort of, what I would have liked to have seen is a larger impulse like this, an A, B, C like that. But either way, I'm still looking for this 50 fib retrace. So that'll be your target. On the H4, like I said last week and the week before that, we got the up 1, 2, 3. We got 1, 2, 3. So I'm looking for that 5 up. So any buy setup you get, you can look for those buys. We don't have any bearish divergence. Whether you want to wait for a H4 correction in here now and then look for more upside, or trade flags on the lower time frames, it's up to you. We don't have any bearish divergence, so you can wait for either or. H1, last week we were looking for this 50 fib retrace. We got that nice impulse up, and we were looking for a correction. The correction, it's more impulsive. Like, we did get 3 down. Didn't quite hit the 50 fib. It doesn't have to hit the 50 fib. Sometimes it hits the 50 fib and bounces off. Sometimes it goes to the 161.8. Sometimes it goes to the 78.6, or the 90 fib. It was a shallow correction. We don't have, do we have, I don't think we have any bearish divergence. Or do we? Touch and go, really. I'd say we don't. When it's a line decision, we don't. So we're looking for this. We still aren't at this 100 fib yet. So I'm looking for this like WXY. We're still not at the 100 fib. Price can still go up to this 161.8 in wave Y, and then get the correction in X2, and then give another one up. We're looking for that 5 up. Like I said, we're looking for that 5 up, and we are getting that. It hasn't got to that 100 fib, and I was expecting a little bit more out of non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll beat expectations by quite a bit, but we didn't get the impulses like we should have. But we're sort of getting a little flag in here for more upside. So whether you want to take that, you can. And just keep on moving it to break even. And, definitely want to be break even at this 100 fib. Then target that 161.8. So AU on the daily. All right. So on the daily, we're still in this uptrend. We are still in this uptrend. It's not confirmed that this trend line's broken. But look here, if you zoom in, it's sort of, yesterday's candle was it pulled back a lot. You know, I was expecting it to give more of a impulse down off the news, you know, non-farm payroll. So on the H4, we're nearly at this 50 fib. But on the daily, this is our, I have to zoom back out. So this is our 50 fib. We'd like to see that larger correction. We do have that bearish divergence, so I'm looking for that larger H1 correction. Something like this. You know, we don't know what sort of correction we're going to get, but we got that bearish divergence, so we're sort of looking for more downside. But it's not to say that we won't get more upside either, because when we look at this, we got an A, B, C. We got, the problem here is that I see between these two tops, we don't have any bearish divergence. We've lost that bearish divergence. So there is that possibility that this is a bull hidden here. We've got a higher low. So there is possible that we do go up and break that top. We definitely can't rule that out. So is the upside over? You know, if we go down to the H1, now this is what, you know, we've got 3 down here. Didn't get to the 100 fib. We do have bullish divergence at this stage. So will that bull hidden play out? You know, we can look at it both ways. You know, if you're looking for the buy for that bull hidden, you really want the trend line break, then correction in here, or flag to go and buy to break that top. Or why we're still in here, why we're still in this downtrend, may get something like this, trend line break and more downside. So we have to watch for a correction this week, whether it breaks out and gives you this second scenario, what I'm showing you here now, and we get more downside, or we get that what I showed, you know, the breakout, then the correction in here for more upside. We really need to negate this, like this hidden divergence. We really need to a break below here to negate that bull hidden, for to get that target down to the like daily 100 fib, 50 fib, sorry. So that daily 50 fib down here, you know, we really need to negate that bull hidden here. So if we do get more downside, breaks this low here, then gives a larger correction, then we can look for more downside. So it's going to be a little bit tricky because we do have that possible bull hidden, you know, and on the H1 we have like that bullish divergence already, you know. We're nowhere near that 100 fib on the wave C, so we can trade either way. We're at a top on the daily. On the daily, there is still a little bit of room up to the 100 fib. Yeah, to the 100 fib. Oh, have I taken that off? Oh no, see the 100 fib's right up here on the daily, you know, for the A, B, C. So yeah, they're the two scenarios. You can trade it both ways, see what you get. If you get, like, if I go down to the M15, maybe, so we may get something like this in here, an A, B, C, and then we get that A, B, C. Get a little trend line in here, break. If it doesn't break this trend line here, you can look for more sells. If it breaks this trend line here, well then you can, and you get a bullish setup, well then you can look for more upside. And that's pretty much goes for all the majors. You know, we're getting that ABC instead of the impulse. So EU, we have broken out, and this one is confirmed that this trend line is broken on the daily. So, but if we look here, we got this, and this is looking corrective as well. It's starting to sort of get a little bit more impulsive down here, but it's sort of still looking impulsive. So can't rule out more upside. And this is some sort of an A, B, C for a flat in here, a larger flat, and then we get more upside. Sort of can't rule it out. On the H4, same as that DXY, you know. We got this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like I've been explaining for the last few weeks. And then I'm looking for that A, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I'm looking for that complex correction, 3, 3, 5 pattern. Nothing's changed. We've got an impulse down. You can either wait for a larger correction for a sell, or you can look for flags on the H1 and trade them. We don't have any bullish divergence. So, yeah, I'm really only looking for the sells. I'm looking for that 5 down. On the H1, again, last week, we had that impulse down last Friday, and then we were looking for that 3 up. It gave, you know, a pretty sharp move. It didn't quite hit the 50 fib like that DXY and that. So how can we look at this now? I'm sort of looking at it because this is reasonably impulsive. I mean, this is reasonably impulsive too, but we still may get some sort of a running flat in here for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know? So we sort of got to see. Is there bullish divergence? I don't think there is. No, there's no bullish divergence on this one. So you still can trade the flags and just scalp them down. But I think that we will get some sort of a larger correction, you know, like a flat here or something, you know, a running or expanding flat and more downside. Because this is so sharp, you know, we've got a sharp move and a sharp move. And this is reasonably sharp as well. So we may get even a more complex correction. So we get sort of, I'll clear all that. So we get impulse, 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 correction, impulse, and then we get this A, B, C in here. And then we get that A, B, C. So this can become quite complex in here, may give a you know, a really messy sort of a structure, you know, because of what price action's doing, because we're getting these impulses. This is impulsive, this is impulsive. Even this here is impulsive. So sort of looking for 3 up. And the 3 up can even go and break that top for an expanding flat, you know. And then one more down for this. A, B, C. So yeah, sort of, I'd be more inclined to wait for a correction now, but you definitely can trade flags because we don't have that bullish divergence. So if you get any little flags, and it looks like we're getting a little flag in here at the moment, you know, you can look to trade these to the downside. Why this trend line holds? Why this trend line here holds? You can look for sells, pretty much the same as AU. You know? If we get a correction in here, look for more downside. Why this trend line holds? GU H4 daily. Daily, we got that bearish divergence. I did put out an idea on H1, which I'll show you when we get there. But we do have that bearish divergence on the daily. So we are looking for more downside. Now, again, here, we do have, see, from this top here to this top here, we do have bearish divergence, but we had it from bearish divergence there and there between these two tops that didn't fall over, you know. So I'm not really going on that divergence. I don't think we have divergence. So between, you know, this little correction in here, there's no bearish divergence. Here we've got bull hidden divergence, a possible bull hidden divergence. So we really need to, for the ultimate sell, we really need to negate that possible bull hidden. So we really want to see price come down here, then give a larger correction, and then look for more downside for the downside. I should have pointed that out on the daily, that we are still in this trend line. This one hasn't broken out of that trend at all. So we're still in that uptrend. So we definitely can't rule out more upside. On the H4, we got that bull hidden, like I just explained, the possible bull hidden. If we go down to the H1, now during the week, last week I said, you know, we do have that possible bull hidden in here on the H1, and that was confirmed because we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. I put that idea out in here as a flag. Now that flag didn't go, and it, you know, it was a break-even trade for me. But I'll always take these. When we got that possible bull hidden, I will always take them. You know, I'll always give them a go because the risk reward. Because I was looking for that. Now it's changed now, but I was looking for that WXYXZ, and these were the targets up here. So these were your targets. These are the targets I was looking for. So on this little flag here, you know, I was risking, I think, I don't know, 24 pips, I think it was, to get the entry that I got. You know, I was only risking about 24 pips to get, you know, 300-400 pips. So I'm always, the risk reward was there. So I'm always going to look for those trades when there's that possible bull hidden. Now it didn't play out, and now we've negated that bear hidden because we've broken this low over here. So now what we have is, well, we've got 3 down. We got 1, 2, 3 down with bullish divergence, like most of them. We're nowhere near this 100 fib here. So you still, like most of the pairs, if you get correction in here, look for more downside while this trend line holds. If we get a breakout of here, correction, look for upside. Because we have that, you know, we have that bullish divergence. So again, we're right at the top, you know. So eventually, oh, this one here. This one here is the, I should take this off because that didn't play out. I'll leave that one on. But this is our 50, I don't know what. Oh, yeah. So this is our 50 fib retracement of all this move, this white one here. So eventually I'm looking for something like an A, B, C, whether it starts from this is the top or goes up here and this is the top. I'm still looking for that 50 fib retrace before we get more upside. Okay. So yeah, on the H1, like I said, you know, you can virtually trade it both ways because we do have that, you know, I'll be more inclined to look for the sells because we're so high up, you know. But that didn't mean that because we had that little flag in here, I definitely, you know, I wouldn't pass up these little opportunities because the risk reward is so high. And it turned out to be a complete waste of time for me because, you know, it turned into a break-even trade. But, you know, that's trading. So NU daily gain. We're in this uptrend. This is still, we're still in this uptrend. There's no confirmation this trend line, the trend's changed. Just because it's a trend line break doesn't mean that it's over. There's a few things that have to happen to confirm the trend line. Well, change a trend, you know. So we have that bearish divergence on the daily. There's still a little bit of room up on the daily to that 100 fib. We look at here. Well, I should have pointed it out on the daily. This still can be sort of, because we got such a messy move in here, this can be an A, B, C in here, or a little flat, something like this, for more upside. So we definitely can't rule that out either. But then when we look on the, see, the reason I say that, between this top and this top, there's no bearish divergence. Now, there's no ball hidden on, unless we look at this over here and this here, but it's sort of getting it too far out, you know. There's too much stuff that happened in here to give us that ball hidden, you know. It's not ball hidden. So here, I'm only looking, well, it's tricky because we've got a lower low. So I'll be more inclined to look for sells, you know. We may get a larger correction in here. If we get a larger correction, look for more downside. If we go down to the H1, again, this is where it gets tricky because we have that, like the other pairs, we have 3 down with bullish divergence. Now, we haven't quite got to this, NU just about got to that 100 fib. It didn't quite get there, but so again, like why this trend line here holds, you can look for more downside. You know, you definitely want to be a break even at that 100 fib because you may get a bounce off that 100 fib if we're going to get more upside. But again, you know, if you get a break out of here, and ideally you get a break above that top, and then a correction, you know, you can look for more upside to go and break the top. And you'd be aiming for that. If you're looking for the long, you know, you're aiming for that 100 fib, that daily 100 fib. So it is a little bit tricky, you know. We sort of can look for both ways. We can sort of trade now both ways. But because of the H4, you know, what I'd really like to see is a correction. Whatever sort of correction it gives, and more downside. Because we're at a top on the daily and we have bearish divergence on the daily. So, you know, ideally we get something like this. Now, this will take probably 2-3 weeks if we get a H4 correction, you know, like this here. It took a few weeks and I was staying out of the whole lot because it was just, didn't give a decent structure, you know. Well, it did, but it's an A, B, C. I wasn't expecting something like this, you know, a big impulse here. but it is still 3 up, 1, 2, 3 up. You know, that's why that, like I said on the daily, definitely can't rule out this as an A, B, C for more upside as a like running or expanding flat in here. So it is quite tricky. That's why you sort of can trade both ways, because we got that like H1, we got that bullish divergence already. Actually, I might go down on the M15 because it looks like we're getting a little flat in here. Yeah, see, we got a sharp move up. So we might get a little flat in here, running flat or expanding flat, and then another one for an A, B, C in here. Not break that trend line and get more downside. So look for that, you know. But yeah, if you get like the breakout correction, look for more upside. So yeah. UY daily. So it turns out the count that I had all the time was correct. You know, this like W, X, Y, X, Z here. Like if you go back through my videos, I wasn't quite sure if this was the Y here and we get an A, B, C in here for the Z down here, okay? If you go back through. But now we can definitely say, okay, you know, this is, it's not really impulsive, but it is quite impulsive on the daily. Like I said last week, we really want to negate this, break this top here, because we have that possible bear hidden, sorry. So we want to negate that. I mean, this is the target anyway, like the 100 fib here for the A, B, C. So I can sort of take these off now. Remove, and we got that. We're getting that impulse up. So this is your target here. So if you get any corrections or flags or anything, you really want a larger correction now, because it still can go up like this one here. It didn't give any corrections, not on the daily, but it's sort of a little bit more choppy on the lower time frames, this one, you know. And this is usually how they go. They don't usually just go like this. This was, you know, big events here, you know. But yeah, so we're getting that C up on the daily, but we have that. We still haven't negated that bear hidden. So H4, there's not much on it. We don't have any bearish divergence, so you can look for longs. Now I'll be more inclined to wait for because it's such a large impulse. I'll be more inclined to wait for a correction before you look for more buy setups up to that 100 fib on the daily. Now this can, and they usually do, you know, give correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, right up to that 100 fib, you know. So I'd be more inclined to wait for a larger correction on the H4 correction on the H4, because we've got such a large impulse now. It starts to get risky trading bullish flags on the H1 when we've got such a large correction, such a large impulse. Now we don't have any bearish divergence on the H1, so there's no reason why you can't trade bullish flags. We have a look at this. So I haven't got the trend line on here. This is our trend here. So while this trend line holds, you can look for more upside. Oh. It's not meant to be there. Remove. it looks like we're getting a bear flag in here for one more down. You get a breakout, you can look for this flag here to trade. You definitely can take that, or wait for the larger correction. You might get 5 down here, 3 up, or a correction, and then another 5. Something like this, a larger correction, before you get more upside. But either way, you can. I mean, there's no buy setup on it. If anything, it's giving a sell setup, a scout for a sell. You definitely can take this too. You're right at the top, but there is no bearish divergence, so it's dangerous, But you're getting a bear correction in here on the M15, so you can look for at least 100 fib, A, B, C. And if you get that trend line break, little flag or whatever, you can look for more upside. The Swissy. Now this is interesting because I said on the weekly, I was just looking for this A, B, C. Now for the X2 on the weekly and then go and break the low. Now this is very sharp. We're nearly up to the 50 fib, which will sort of change the structure if we get up past this 50 fib here. And this is quite impulsive. Now, there is still possible bear hidden here, So, can't rule out of breaking this low at this stage. Actually, I think it may have even broken above that. It has. Sorry about that. I didn't think it did. But yeah, this is broken above it. So really, we're only looking for buys, We pretty much negate this Z down now. Still are looking for a correction, to buy, because eventually this daily will give a correction, and if it does give a correction, you can look for more upside, but you really want to wait for more, because we're broken this top now. We really only are. We're not looking for this low to be broken on the daily. So we still can get, we don't know what sort of correction we're going to get. It may be deep, or it may, get my pen. So we may get a deep correction in here. We've got to sort of wait and see what correction, how deep this correction is, to give us an idea to negate this weekly Z down. We really want to negate this weekly Z down, because at the moment it's still, this was your target here, that 38.2. Now that's been hit, and your second target is at 50. Usually it won't get to that 50. If we're going to get that Z down, it won't get to this 50. We still are in this trend, so it may get there. But yeah, I'll remove these now, because the sort of structure has changed on the daily, because we've got a high now, which doesn't really matter. I mean, it's still, we're looking for that correction. Like I said, we're looking for some sort of a correction to see how deep this correction is before we get either a Z up, a wave Y like WXY, or an A, B, or a C. If we get an A, B, C, well, more than likely we will still go and break that low in a wave Z on the weekly. On the H4, no bearish divergence. So again, you know, if you're getting flags, you can take them. Really, you want to wait for a correction. You know, but it's up to you. On the H1, you know, this, I mean, like I said, we had this ball hidden here, you know, on the H4, and this is really impulsive, you know. Well, there's a lot of corrections in it, but usually with a ball hidden, it'll just go up right at the top, go to the 161.8 maybe, or the 123 or the 161, and then give a larger correction. Now, this has just kept on going, which is not really, don't really see this very often. We're in an uptrend, you know, really, there's no bearish divergence, so flags you can buy why this trend line here holds. Did we get a cross down there? It's given a cross down here, but there's no, I don't see the cross. So yeah, why this trend line here holds, you know, you can look for buys. I'd be more inclined to wait for a correction. I'll be more inclined to wait for a correction like this over here to buy. You know, I wouldn't be sort of buying flags up here at this high. But yeah, it's looking like you are getting like bullish. This is looking bullish here. This is looking like a bullish flag here. You know, so you can trade it. Just have to be careful. Yeah. UCAD. Another tricky one. So we're still within this trend. This one hadn't. This one here hasn't broken out of this trend. Hasn't broken out of this trend yet at all. We do have a lot of bullish divergence, so it's only a matter of time before this does go. We got like the wave C 100 fibs right down here. Will it get there? I don't really think it will. You know, it's getting too choppy in here, and we're getting that a lot of bullish divergence. On the H4, we got so we got that larger correction in here. We still, yeah, we got this large impulse a couple of weeks ago. So really only looking for buys because in here we got a high here. So we got that high. So last week I was looking for that 50 fib. Now this one come right down to the 61.8. I brought it, but we didn't. We still haven't broken this top. So I'm looking for like A, B, C, and then more upside because we still haven't broken that top. Sorry about that. I just had someone here. So yeah, we still haven't broken this top. As you know, I was hoping that non-farm payroll, you know, would make it go. It didn't. So now I have to look at it as some sort of an A, B, C in here, and then we get that A, B, C before we go. We should get more upside. I can't look for downside until this low is broken now, basically. And then we're going to have bullish divergence. Like, if this low gets broken again, we're going to get a lot more bullish divergence. So I'm really not looking for the shorts. It's just way too risky. I'm only looking for the buy. So if I get another one down here, and then some sort of a buy setup, you know, I'll look for that buy. At least to the 100 fib, A, B, C. Ideally, you know, we get that 50 fib retrace on the daily, which is up here. You know, really want to see the larger corrections. And like I said, sometimes they don't get to the 50 fib. Sometimes they go to the 161.8. And sometimes they go to the 78.6 or the 90 fib, you know. We don't know how far the corrections are going to go, but always like to see them get to that 50 fib. So eventually, you know, we should see something, a correction, some sort of a larger correction. So on the H1, it still can go from here, but we've got this up here. So if we get some sort of a bullish structure in here, you can look for more upside to at least go and break that top. And, you know, you're looking for that 100 fib, at least the 100 fib of this move here. Just draw that on there. Oh, I've already got it on. So this is the 100 fib here, you know. You know, that's your first target, and then you can hold the rest, you know, for that daily 50 fib, you know, if you want. But yeah, I'm only looking for buys. You know, if you get a buy set up, look for the buy. GU or GY, we're still in no bearish divergence on the daily. We're at this 100 fib. There is still room up to this 161.8. You know, this wave Y is not over. You know, there's no confirmation the wave Y is over. So I was looking for the larger correction. I was looking for last week. I was looking for one down here. You can see I was looking for that A, B, C before we get more upside. Now that didn't happen. It still may, because this is looking corrective. So we can look at this as a flat in here. Remove. And like this one here, you know, I was only looking for that 50 fib retrace. Instead, it's gone and broken the top, because a wave B can break the top. So I'm looking for some sort of a larger correction, something to trade A, B, C as a running or expanding flat for more upside. So yeah, like last week I was looking for that A, B, C, you know, to give us something to trade. You know? So I really need that impulse down and then bullish setup to look for the buy. Why this trend line here? Oh, why this trend line here still holds? You know, why this trend line here still holds? You can look for buys. Now on the H1, see, this is still looking bullish. Even on the H1, it's still looking bullish. We got getting this, you know. This trend line here is still holding. So we're looking for a W, X, Y, X, Z up here. Give us that bearish divergence. So we still don't have any bearish divergence. So we need that Z up. Then you can look for the short. More than likely, it may go and give a larger correction here. So you definitely want to, if you get the short set up, you want to look for it. But you have to keep in mind that it may be just an impulse down for a flat correction before we get more upside. EG, I put out an idea on EG. I put out the idea on EG in here on TradingView. We had this impulse up this here. I put out the idea around here somewhere. I got in it and it turned into a break-even trade. But if we have a look here, I'm still looking for, like, these are the targets, the 100 fib and the 161.8. Now these targets may change. At this stage, they're still valid, because here's your invalidation point. I'm looking for an A, B, C. Does it go from here and this is the low, or does it give another low? We just don't know. The first trade that I took didn't go. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 goes before you get the one, the impulse that you're looking for. But I am looking for another impulse. At this stage, I can't change that trend line, but it's looking like more downside, because in here we got sort of a W, X, Y, X, Z to finish off that B wave, and then we get that C up. So you can look for this trade here at the 100 fib. It's getting quite deep now, so it's at the 61.8. So it can get down to the 78.6 or the 90 fib. It goes and breaks this low. It invalidates this trade as a regular flat or an ABC, but it still can be an A, break this low as a B, C up for a running or expanding flat, and still go and break that low then, So yeah, you still want to trade this C up, because we should be looking at an A. Like this is very impulsive, so I'm looking for another impulse. Gold. So, like I've been saying, this bear hidden here played out. It's kept on going, and we've lost our bullish divergence. We've got no bullish divergence. So this still can be a larger correction, like I've got this arrow here from last week or whenever. A, B, C as a running or expanding flat and more downside. Because, like I've been saying, on the weekly, there still is heaps of room here. Now, it's hit the second target, hit it last week, or the week before, at that 38.2. But this, again, can just give correction after correction until it goes, until we get that Z up on the weekly. So we don't have any bullish divergence. H4, we are getting bullish divergence, but between the last 2 lows, we've lost that bullish divergence. So you still can look for, sells, but it's starting to get risky, because eventually I think we will at least see, an impulse up. There is no bullish divergence, so you still, if you get a little flat in here, you can look for more downside. They're only really scalps, Like I said last week, I don't really want to see this 50 break, this green 50 here break, because if that breaks, well, then we have to start looking at a different structure on the weekly. So it can break, but when this 50 does break, or if it does, we have to start to look at different structures on the weekly. So yeah, but why this trend here holds, why this trend line here holds, you can still look for shorts. for the long, you want an impulse up flag to buy. Man, you really want that on the H1. H1, we're starting to get that bullish divergence. So yeah, if you get any sort of, we've got that bullish divergence. So if you get any, this is looking more bearish for more downside. But if you get another one down, then an impulse up, little flag, you can look for that buy for that larger flat, for the C up for the flat. Yeah. WTI, we've hit that 100 fib in the wave C. We've got bearish divergence still. We're still within this trend. Price can get up to this 161.8. Your next target is at 123.6. And we may even lose that divergence. Bearish divergence that we have at this stage. We've got bearish divergence. So H4. H4, we've lost all bearish divergence too, so you can look for flags and buy. It's sort of given a pretty big impulse up here. Last week, I was sort of looking at sort of an A little, because this is so choppy. I was looking for that C down, something to give me that buy. It never gave me the buy, and it's just kept on giving this like choppy movement up in here. So it is quite difficult to trade. There is no bearish divergence. So ideally, the way to trade this is wait for a larger correction. Like on the H1, give you something to trade, wait for the break, and then more upside. You really want to wait for that larger correction, or the H1 correction, at least that H1 correction before you look for more upside. I wouldn't be going trading flags up here because it's so choppy. This is very choppy. It's, yeah. Bitcoin. Again. On the daily. We still haven't crossed down. We're still in that trend. No bearish divergence. We got this. Now, this still doesn't look complete to me. Like, over here, I was looking. These were the targets for this trade over here. It never went. So I can remove all this. Get it off the chart. Oh, just lost everything. Wrong one. Doesn't matter. This still doesn't look. We got this A, B, C. Then we got that A, B, C, A, B, C. I'd like to see the larger correction before more upside, because we're at a top. We don't have any bearish divergence, but eventually this has to correct. It's had a big run up, so I'll be more inclined to sell it than buy it. It's not really. This is more. I'll go to that H1 again, because so I had that trend line in here. Well, for bullish, it broke out. And now it's looking bearish. sort of, I think last week I was looking for, something like this, breakout and more upside to get up to that first and second target. Now see, we've got a lower low here. So you have to watch these. We've got lower low. Do we have bearish divergence in here? See, we don't have any bearish divergence in this, but it never got price action up here. It never got anywhere near that 100 fib. So more than likely we're going down. And like I said, it's more than likely going to be like I showed on that H4. We get some sort of a larger correction in here. So again, an A, B, C in here for a flat in here for an A, B, C. So it's not really giving a self setup. If you do get a self setup and that top holds, look for this, that ABC. I'll just draw that 100 fib. So around this area here, and if we do get that, C down, the A, B, C, then you want to wait for a trend line break before you look for the buy. But at this stage, I wouldn't be looking for buys. It is sort of giving you a buy setup in here. It's giving you a bullish flag in here, and you can take it, like, because we don't have any bearish I mean, it's very risky because this one never went to the 100 fib, but this can be like an A, B, C in here as well. So, you're getting a little flag in here. If you want to take it, you definitely can, because we don't have any bearish divergence. Yeah, and this here is your larger correction for an A, B, C. Well, it's more of a WXY because we got three waves in here, so it's more of a like an A, B, C for a W, and then this is your X, and then we get that wave Y up. This is looking like a pretty good flag, so you definitely could take that. I'm not sure it'll be still there by the time this webinar gets up, but if you're still getting that flag, you can look for that buy. SPX, we still haven't, we've crossed down on the MACD only just, but this again, it's still looking bullish. Like, it hasn't given us that nice impulse down, so it's looking more bullish. We got that impulse, and we lost the bearish divergence. So and this is looking very corrective in here. Like, we've got some sort of a flat in here for an A, B, C down. So you can look for that A, B, C. So if you get any buy setups on the H1, look for the buy setups. The DAX, like I've been saying, we broke out of here, out of this trend, and then got this big correction. And I was saying last week, this is looking very corrective. We got to break out of this one. Then it's just come back down, like, this is very risky to trade because you get the breakout, big pullback, breakout, big pullback. It can go on for ages, but you're only scalping it. Eventually this will fall over. When we get to that daily, we're breaking the top and big correction in here. It doesn't look like it's over though. It's not giving the sell setup, so you have to wait for that sell setup. And if you want to look for the buys, you can, but they're only scalps. The FTSE on the daily, we're looking for that downside still, you know, but it's looking bullish, you know, it's still looking bullish. That's the problem. You know, this in here is bullish. It's broken out here. You got 3 down. Now you're getting like 3 up. So, you know, you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Really, you'd want to see that top break and then look for more downside. You know, if you're looking for the buy, you definitely want to be a break even at the break of that top. Yeah. So that's about it this week. I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. Share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you like the video, and enjoy your week next week, and I'll see you out there. Enjoy.